Joining us now is political scientist Julio Teehankee, professor of Salle University. Good to see you, Prof. July. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Kathy. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. You just come back from Hong Kong for a talk there,
Yes.
haven't you? So
Yes.
what's it like engaging our Filipino community there and the fellows in the academe on what they think and feel about the corruption allegations, the protest rallies, and the investigations going on here?
Well, Kathy, again, we have made the international headlines with the political drama that has just erupted in our country in the past few weeks or months. No? And there's much interest, not only among our fellow Filipinos abroad, particularly in Hong Kong, but also the academics there. So I gave a lecture, a public lecture at the City University of Hong Kong to give a public briefing on the events that's been going on in the Philippines.
And in particular, the protest rallies last Sunday, what are they saying about the protest rallies in the key cities here in Metro Manila, Luneta Recto and EDSA Shrine?
Of course, there's much concern, especially among our kababayans, because you know how Filipinos can be emotionally involved, and they have also their partisan alliances or affiliation. But overall, they're concerned about what's happening, and they're really trying to understand the root cause, because everybody, not only those abroad, but also those who attended the rallies last Sunday, they all are fighting for one advocacy. They're all against corruption, but there are several political blocs or political groups that have their own political or partisan agenda. No? So that is one irony, that despite our common disgust over this really mind-blowing corruption that's been going on for years, if not decades, we are still divided how to address this problem.
Exactly, and to your point, we are still divided. How then do we fight for the same advocacy of anti-corruption if that's the case?
Well, one thing about this issue is that everybody is a victim, no? Regardless of your political alliance or political affiliation or your agenda, we are all victims of this massive corruption that's been going on. And this is a wake-up call for everybody. I mean, especially ordinary citizens, from the middle class all the way to the ordinary citizens, that we must be mindful of how we conduct our politics, because corruption is one thing, and there's a tendency for people to look at corruption as simply a question of good or bad people. But from time immemorial, it has been proven that it is not a question simply of good or bad people. It's the bad system that's been embedded and institutionalized that we have to address collectively.
Picking up on the irony you mentioned earlier and looking at it from the perspective of President Bongbong Marcos, where does that irony now stand, with the palace saying that the president is willing to be investigated over reports that he received campaign contributions from government contractors?
Yes. You know, the second Marcos presidency is full of historic irony. Like, for example, more than 50 years, in fact, we've just commemorated 53 years since the declaration of martial law. The sitting president is a Marcos. And the first majority president in the post-Marcos era is a Marcos. And now we are seeing another irony in this Marcos presidency, the fact that he himself became sort of a whistleblower by exposing all of this massive corruption within his own watch, within his administration. So some people, including myself, have asked the question, are we seeing, this Marcos, whose family has been involved in the same issue, are we seeing him morph into a Pinoy 2.0 with his mahiya naman kayo anti-corruption campaign? So is this a return to the walang korap, walang mahirap campaign of his own predecessor, Noynoy Aquino.
So what's your own answer to your own question then? Is it a return to Pinoy 2.0?
Okay. Of course, there are some rhetorical similarities, but also there are differences. Like, for example, there's a lot of skepticism of whether President Bongbong Marcos's own anti-corruption campaign is just a ploy to salvage the second half of his presidency, particularly his legacy, given the fact that he suffered from a back-to-back political setback. One being the underperformance of his coalition in the 2025 midterm elections, and second, during the Supreme Court rejection of the impeachment case against VP Sara. So he needed a win to prove that he still is in control and he is no longer a lame duck president. And nature cooperated with him, and God gave him his wish, and all of this series of torrential rains and typhoons exposed a syndicate within the PWH and within the legislature in this flood control scandal.
Which leads us to the question of how we can actually reconcile President Marcos's public stance as an anti-corruption crusader, as you said, with the allegations involving close allies and family members.
Yeah, precisely. So, when President Marcos won and was inaugurated, he said he should not be judged by the sins of his ancestors, but rather on what he's going to do. And again, he reiterated that by saying, just watch him and his team address this issue. And so far, there's some hope, but of course, hope springs eternal. It's cautious optimism for some because now the people have, the sense of empowerment among the different sectors in society have been reawakened. People power has been reawakened, and now we are seeing the impact of this renewed vigilance among the public. So now government is pressured to provide results and lasting results, and this time people should be prosecuted. Those who are guilty should be punished so that there will be accountability, and this will be the preventive measure that will minimize these kinds of corruption that we have seen in the past decades.
And the people, the public, the key stakeholder here, what role then do you expect public sentiment around these probes, these protests and corruption issues to play in shaping voter behavior and candidate platforms as we head on to the 2028 presidential elections?
Yes. So there is a renewed social movement, an anti-corruption movement, but we have to understand that this is a systemic structural problem. Corruption is only one thing that can be addressed by strengthening accountability and good governance measures in government. But the real root of the problem really is political monopoly. The monopoly of only a handful of people in control of power, and they are using it for their own personal, socio-economic, and political privileges. So the key here really is to make sure through the organization of people and to support new blood. The key is to stop political monopoly and to stop political dynasties. That is the root cause. And the high cost of elections is actually another thing. No? Only the dynasties supported by oligarchs are able to support big political parties. And the ordinary people, particularly the youth, who are talented and have the vision and the idealism to really serve the country, are shut out of our political system. So going towards 2028, let us not talk about personalities, but let us take it upon ourselves to organize ourselves and form new political blocs and organizations, and eventually a political party that will definitely introduce new politics in 2028.
Well, thank you so much for your insights, Professor Julio Teehankee. Much appreciated of De La Salle University.